Hey everyone, Nick here. I am here at my abuela's house in South Florida, and I just wanted to let you know that today's episode is really fun. Alina and I talked to MariVi Deliz, who's a graphic designer in South Florida. She's a really cool person, has a great story, and is so passionate about her faith. We also cover some dangerous territory, giving some spoilers for Avengers Endgame. We narrowly survive a rabid possum. We talk about the challenge of maintaining a healthy relationship with God while being in ministry, whether as a paid minister or a volunteer. It's just a great conversation, and I'm excited for you guys to check it out. Here it is. Welcome everyone to Conversations with Nick and Alina.
On the road.
On the road. We are here in South Florida, actually South Miami, with the MariVi Deliz.
Hey guys.
MariVi is short for Maria Virginia.
Yes.
And also this episode is brought to you by our patron community. And if you would like to partner with us and be a part of the mission that we are about, bringing people into truth through beauty, then we would invite you to check out nickandalina.com/patron. So today we are beginning a series specifically on that theme of pointing to truth through beauty. And we are going to be interviewing artists, creators, creatives as a part of this series. Because while we are in this world, we are not of this world, but being in the world, we can point to that which is otherworldly through beautiful things. So, for that reason, we are here with MariVi today. Before we get into our conversation with MariVi, though, we want to just kind of come up to speed with a few recent current events because we have missed a few weeks of this conversation show.
Yes.
We've had some significant transitions in our life as a family. We did. So we actually, we recently went into a transition that God ushered us into, we pray, we hope, which is that we are doing this podcast, the music that we make, the messages that we write about, full time. We're doing all of this full time, and we're really excited. But all the more reason we would love to invite you to check out our patron community. But beyond just that recent current event, and maybe more importantly, recently Avengers Endgame came out, which I think is probably the event of maybe the decade, nay, the century.
The decade.
The decade?
The
okay.
decade.
Well, sometimes I need to kind of be brought back down to earth. But yeah, so Alina and I, we're down here in South Florida, and we literally got our kids to bed, and a lot of people bought tickets to watch Avengers Endgame like months before it came out.
I bought it like last week.
Last week? Okay.
Yeah.
We put our kids to bed Thursday night, and we were like, we should go to the movies. And then we just went and watched Avengers Endgame.
We left our children with his mother.
Oh yeah, we didn't like abandon them.
Leave
That's
our
important.
Kids at home alone.
Yeah. So I loved it. I've been a huge fan of the Marvel movies. Alina, what did you think about it?
It was good.
It was good?
Yeah.
Come on.
For like a superhero movie, if you're into that kind of thing, it was good.
Okay. All right.
It's not Pride and Prejudice, but whatever.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
MariVi, what did you
Yeah,
think?
I also like Pride and Prejudice, but I would say for like a movie hero action movie, it was like a fun roller coaster ride. But don't try to figure out their space-time continuum logic because one of my friends and I just got a headache after having a conversation about trying to figure that part out. So I'm not going to say any more in case the viewers have not seen Endgame, but you should see it. It was fun.
Spoiler, there is space and time travel, apparently.
I feel like that was a big thing, though. Like, we might have to,
Edit that out?
Edit that out.
Yeah, we don't want to ruin the experience for anybody.
We'll have to put a little red
Just
flag
kidding.
at the beginning.
I'm pretty sure people knew. People knew that was coming.
Yeah, you figured it out.
I did, actually.
You did.
I totally
was very
called
proud
that.
of you.
We were,
after the last one we saw, we were like trying to figure out what's
after
going to happen
Infinity
next.
War, I called it. We were with a bunch of family, and the family was trying to figure out how they were going to fix this. And I said it's going to be related to the quantum realm. They're going to have to time travel through the quantum realm.
You even mentioned, I can't say
Crap!
anymore.
I just spoiled. No! Cancela. What's that over there? Actually, there is a possum.
Yes, in that bush back
there.
there.
There's a possum that lives here.
Don't tell my roommate because she might die if it comes out. So just
well, we might die if it comes out. So
I have an urge to go poke a stick in there.
We wanted to raise the stakes. Conversations with Nick and Alina was just getting a little bland. I mean, our viewership and listenership has been skyrocketing, but it just wasn't enough for us.
So
we needed to.
Angry possum.
You're going to orchestrate a viral possum attack.
Yes.
That is exactly what you need. A viral possum attack. Just that one clip of this interview.
Yep.
You're welcome. That part that kind of didn't die when Hurricane Irma came by. That right in there.
Mm-hmm. All right,
yeah.
doggone. All right, so in other news, Sarah Kroger just dropped her new album called Bloom. The hype has been extreme for this one. She's been promoting it. There was a huge fundraising campaign for it, crowdsourcing. And then for months now, since the crowdsourcing ended, people have been getting excited about it. So Bloom by Sarah Kroger has dropped.
She works with Audrey Assad, right?
Yes, Audrey Assad. I don't know if this is Audrey's first foray into the producing role. It may or may not be. I can't speak to that, but Audrey did a great job. And Audrey actually sings on a couple of the tracks, one or two of the tracks with Sarah. And so I have to say that my favorite song on the album is called When I See You. Have you listened to it yet?
I haven't yet.
Sample it? No, I'm not going to do that. Absolutely not going to do that.
Chicken.
But I definitely encourage everyone to go check out Sarah Kroger's album Bloom, and specifically my favorite song, When I See You.
Me out of the corner of your eye.
Did I?
Yeah, you did. You were like, shut up, Alina.
And then finally, as far as recent news, Alina and I, on Good Friday, we released a new musical, Divine Mercy Chaplet.
Yes,
So we encourage everyone to go check that out. If you are familiar with the Divine Mercy Chaplet, it's a really, it's definitely different. Some people are gonna not love the vibe because it's definitely like designed for today's, young Christian, young Catholic audience, and some of the stuff that's out there, like Sarah Reeves and some of the more contemporary modern approaches to music. So it's a very different vibe than people might be used to. And if you're not familiar with the Divine Mercy Chaplet, it's a beautiful way to meditate on the Lord and unite our hearts to His.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So check that out.
I loved it even when I was a Protestant, which is a big deal because I was super anti-rosary before my conversion.
Oh yeah.
But the Divine Mercy was like, I was cool with it because it was all about Jesus. So I was like, I can do this.
That's awesome.
I mean, the rosary is too, but back then I didn't know that. So.
Yes. Oh, I did listen to it, and I thought it was lovely. It was great. Like, it's very listen-to-able. I feel like sometimes the, Divine Mercy recordings, when you listen to them, you can, if you're driving, you're going to start falling asleep. Yeah. I feel like this one, I could listen to this one in the car, and it would make total sense. It'd be like, yeah, check that off my prayer list.
Right.
Got it.
That's awesome.
This one has a beat.
It does. It does. It has a beat.
Lots of bass.
It does.
So watch out.
Yeah, it's got some 808 action.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's it with current and recent events. So moving on now to the meat and potatoes of this conversation, MariVi, Deliz.
Yes.
Thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thank you guys for coming to my little house. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a
Exciting.
lovely place.
And
truly.
they have a cat that I love.
Yes.
Yes, it is a lovely cat.
My roommate is taking her away. I will be so sad.
Oh, well, you might have to steal it.
All right, are we doing
Oh,
the
no,
lightning
we
round?
can't talk about that.
You don't want to
That's
broadcast
under the
that.
table.
Yeah.
No, it's a problem. I can't talk about that.
So leading into that, we're going to do some lightning round, just kind of loosen
Okay.
things up here. A little lightning round questionnaire of you.
Okay, I am
Some of your
bracing
favorite
myself.
things.
Okay.
Favorites, non-favorites, random questions. Here we
Okay, go
First
for it.
question. What's your favorite animal and why?
The koala.
Oh, wow.
I think it's because it sleeps 20 hours a day. And I never got over that whole sleeping like a teenager thing. I still can sleep till 12 any
so
day.
you relate closely
I do.
to
I
these.
relate to the
That's
to the
legit.
koala.
Are you fluffy and cuddly?
I probably am.
I think they're pretty violent, though, aren't they?
I don't know. I mean, I have
Maybe
this
that's a
little
panda.
koala puppet that was given to me when I was born, and I've just loved it my whole life.
That's so
So
special.
I still have it.
That's
Very
awesome.
good. What's
For all of these, I want you to give a why.
Yes.
Why? Okay,
Okay.
great. Good to know.
Yeah. Favorite color and why?
Oh, dang it. It used to be purple until I started working at a company that the company color was purple.
Oh,
and then
no.
I had to make, it was like 50 Shades of Purple.
They ruined
Oh,
it.
They ruined purple for me. So
Overdose of
now
purple.
it's like teal, like aqua teal. I don't know,
Mhm.
somewhere between turquoise and teal and aquamarine.
Okay, I want to pause the lightning round right there because you just brought to mind something that you are the perfect person for me to bring this question to.
Okay.
As a graphic designer and a
Yes.
visual artist, okay, so I'm a little OCD. and I fly Delta, and I've flown Delta for
Here we go.
years.
Okay.
Okay, Delta Airlines colors are blue and that really particular shade of red, and they have been for years. And then out of nowhere, all of the flight attendants, all of the people at the
It's
gate,
like Mardi Gras purple.
it's like this weird purple that clashes because it's like just the wrong shade of purple.
Is it
in
like
my
Barney
mind.
purple?
Yes.
Well, I think it's a little darker than that, but it's
Okay.
close.
It's a little Mardi Gras purple.
But it's like,
it's probably the same purple that we used to use, PMS 2685.
see, that's what I said.
Yeah.
But why? Like, why put that when your colors on your
Yeah, it
logos,
doesn't
the
make sense.
signage, everything is blue and red?
It's very jarring.
You know what? I feel like this is one of those committee decisions that we all hate, where it's like, we can't decide, should the uniforms be red, should the uniforms be blue? Let's compromise and make them purple.
You know
There
what?
we
I have
go.
a feeling that they might have been Catholic. Because that just seems like, for decades, we just made a ton of horrible design choices as a Catholic church in America.
Because of committees.
Maybe
it was the parish council from the president. It was the president of Delta's parish council made that decision.
That's what it is.
what happened.
That's amazing. All
There
right,
you
back
go.
into the lightning
All right,
round.
favorite movie and why?
Oh gosh, I love movies so much. Choosing a favorite movie is hard.
All right, top 3.
Top 3. Okay, well, the other night I did a movie night and I had to pick like 3 movies to watch. So those 3 movies were Nacho Libre, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and Prince of Egypt.
All
But
great movies.
I also love The Sound of Music, Beauty and the Beast,
Sound of Music.
The Shop Around the Corner. Okay, it's probably my favorite classic movie right now. It's like You've Got Mail, but like the original version of it.
Aww.
So good.
Is
Jimmy
it like
Stewart.
black and white classic?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah, Jimmy
wow.
Stewart, like back in the 1930s.
Oh.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Which Beauty and the Beast?
The original animated 1991.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We can keep
Yeah.
being friends.
I was very excited about the Emma Thompson version.
too.
I thought it was okay. I'm not excited about Aladdin or Lion King, the live action Lion King, which we're
It's
not
not
gonna
live action.
It's not live action.
Unless
It's
it's a
really
real lion.
fantastic CGI. I will
Yes.
hats off CGI, not live
Yes.
action.
It's not live action.
Okay.
And the Beauty and the Beast I was excited about until the first trailer that we heard Emma Thompson singing. The entrance song, which to me, I have the entire Beauty and the
does?
Beast entrance song memorized, and I will rock it. And it has been an important part of my upbringing and my
It's
life.
shaped who he is
It's
today.
shaped who I like. It is literally.
I feel like we are kindred spirits because
butchered it.
That song. I mean, the whole song of like the one she sings later on. I wanted adventure in the great wide somewhere. I don't know. Christopher West always talks about like listen to like the songs that you loved when you were a kid and like feel where you felt like that ache for like the ache that he talks about.
such a great
Like
idea.
the first time I remember feeling that was Beauty and the
I just
Beast.
got
Like
goosebumps on my head.
oh, that's exciting. But so that song, man, like
That's awesome.
yeah, great movie.
That's awesome.
Very cool. All right.
So
Favorite TV show?
favorite TV show. I also love television. That's such a hard question. I've never really thought about that.
If you could watch any TV show right now, what would it be?
I mean, right now I'm watching West Wing because I'd never seen it before, but it's
I haven't
not
seen
my
it.
favorite. Wow, I'm stumped. I don't have an answer for this.
All right, so right now, West Wing. What were we watching before West Wing?
My roommates forced me to watch Parks and Rec, which I thought was great.
yeah.
I got through the first 2 seasons. I cried a little bit because
Yeah.
it was terrible, and then it got good. And I tweeted a lot about it. I was like, "This is terrible. Why are they making me watch this?"
Yeah.
I think 30 Rock. If you could get rid of like the Tracy Morgan and Jana Krasowski, I can't say her last name. 30 Rock is pretty funny.
The Office?
I do like The Office. Okay.
The Office.
I can't say it's my favorite show. I don't know. Can we pass on this one?
Yes, we can
Can we pass?
All right, you can do the next one, Nick.
All right. We can't do that. Okay.
Why not?
No, she wants to know who your best friend is. That's not
Who's
fair.
your best friend?
Jesus is my best friend.
There we go. That's
Yes.
safe. All right.
All right. What's your least favorite food?
There we go.
Oh, raspberries.
Why?
Interesting.
Because they taste weird.
They do taste weird.
Yeah, raspberries and
there's a lot of
papaya.
sugar.
I don't know why they just taste funny
It's
to
like
me.
a good concept. But then when it comes down to the brass tacks and you have to actually taste it,
And then they put it on chocolate. Why would you ruin chocolate
Yeah.
with raspberries?
That's true.
it's really pretty though. Raspberry?
Yeah, but
I
then there's
mean,
blackberries, and I'm good with blackberries, so you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Favorite food?
Okay, a caprese salad, like
Ooh.
tomato basil,
Oh,
mozzarella.
yeah. That's
like,
really good.
Yes.
I
We
could
had
eat
one of those
that.
on a cruise ship
Yeah,
once.
that was amazing.
If that's the only food I ever could eat again, that's the
That
one.
just made me really hungry.
That's awesome. All right, favorite thing to do? like hobby-wise?
Hhobby-wise, leisure,
recreation.
Recreation.
Leisure.
Probably crocheting. I like to crochet.
Really?
I'm working on a blanket, which makes no sense in South Florida, but I figured I'm not always going to live here.
You're right.
So,
In
I mean,
fact,
it is
today-
really cold inside the buildings. That's the
true.
secret of South Florida is it's hot outside but freezing inside. So
They
you
are
must
very
always bring a sweater.
Well, when we were driving here today, we saw someone crossing the street, this young girl, and she was wearing a hoodie sweater.
Yeah, like,
and I'm just
why?
like, what are you doing right now with your life? What is this?
Because she will get a cold if she doesn't wear it inside the building.
It's true.
Yeah, but carry it with you. Like, it was a beating hot
She
day
came off
today.
of a school bus, which are they air conditioned here? I don't know.
They're not.
That's terrible.
See, if she was wearing
on
that
a
in the school bus,
That's
I don't know, man.
crazy.
I don't know.
All right.
Smelly school bus. All right.
Favorite thing to wear. Speaking of sweaters.
Favorite thing to wear. Like article of clothing or outfit or
Outfit,
know.
clothing, anything.
I don't know.
First thing that pops into your mind.
I don't know. Fun dresses with pockets.
Ooh,
Dresses
yes.
with pockets.
So useful.
They are though. They are. Try wearing pants without pockets one day.
Yeah.
Well, when I wear gym shorts that don't have pockets, it is like, who invented this?
Yes.
What were they thinking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dresses with pockets are my favorite.
Okay, I'll let you do these two because you feel very passionately about
Windows or Mac?
Mac.
Okay.
I used to be a Windows, but then I switched, and then Windows 8 happened, and I can't. I'm working on a Mac, on a Windows computer right now, and I hate it. My pinky and my middle finger don't know what's happening because they keep
the
they
shortcuts.
keep trying to shortcut, and they just
Yeah.
it's like no.
Yep.
So yeah, Mac.
So
Mac
which
now.
Windows are you running right now?
10 something.
Okay.
I don't even want to know.
That's not dramatic. Android or iPhone?
Ooh.
I
iPhone.
already know you use an iPhone
iPhone,
because
yeah.
of your iMessages. Marvel or DC?
Probably Marvel, but I will always root for Wonder Woman.
Mm.
I had the Underoos, so it's very important to me,
Oh, so then your choice between Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel?
Oh, Wonder Woman
would be
all
Wonder
the way.
Woman. Why
yes.
is that?
Underoos.
What is that?
It's like this kid, like, I don't know, it was like kid underwear back in like the early 90s or something.
never heard
It
of
was
that.
like I had this little tank top that was like Wonder Woman, and I loved it. I wore it until I couldn't wear it anymore. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. I
So
feel
there's
like
the
this
favorite article of
like,
clothing right
we
there.
really do need to edit this.
Nope.
No, it's all going in there. Anyways, Google Underoo, people. You'll figure it out.
Underoo. I should look that
Oh
up
my
for our
gosh.
kids. All right, which time era would you love to live in and why? This is my favorite question.
I don't know. I really like when we live right now, just because of like contact lenses and technology.
That's so true. Yeah.
I feel like I would, if I lived in Pride and Prejudice times, which I would like, I love the idea of living in period times, but I also like bathrooms. And,
Yeah.
Showers.
being able to vote and things like that. So, I don't know. I think now is a good time.
Yeah.
That's true.
I wouldn't mind time traveling to like the 1800s or like
For
colonial
vacation.
America. I would love to vacation during their, right before the Revolutionary War. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Colonial America.
Not during it. 'cause that would
Not
be
during
horrible.
it. That would no.
That's awesome.
Okay, let's see. Do you wanna
What's
go?
your favorite music?
That's another hard question. I love music. I don't know. I guess right now I'm probably still in like a worshipy kind of thing. So right now, Ballad of Bethel, Jesus Culture.
Ooh, yeah,
Hillsong
that's
has a new album out that
I saw
I'm
that.
liking.
People, right?
People, and it actually sounds like Hillsong. It doesn't sound like Hillsong became parents and now they're tired and they just want to play music really softly so their kids won't wake up. I feel like that's what Empires sounded like.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true. It was all
Empires is
very
really
vibey.
chill,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is just these people are tired. Their kids are keeping them up all night, and I feel like maybe now their kids are like 6 and 7, and now they can make music again.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I hope people don't detect that in our music.
Yeah, 'cause we never
We're
sleep.
always tired because of our kids.
Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
kinda fun.
All right, what's your dream car?
oh my gosh. Okay. What was it called again? I can't remember what it was called. It was this thing called a Triumph. It's like this cute little sports car. I used this. My dad loves cars, so of course he taught me about cars. But I forgot what the brand is. Is Triumph the brand? I can't remember.
We don't
It was
know
this
too
cute
much
car like we once saw, and I was like, oh, I want that car. But other than that, a VW Bug.
Oh, those are
Because when I was in high school, I wanted to have a Y2K Bug.
Ah.
The Y2K.
Oh,
That
I
was
get
a
it.
Y2K
'Cause
bug.
of the thing.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
That's
It was
awesome.
a thing.
Didn't you
Spicy.
used to want a bug?
I wanted
My
a
mom
Bug.
wants a bug. I want
Your
a Mini
mom.
Cooper.
Okay.
Or did.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I've grown out of that.
I wanted a Fiat, but I don't think I fit in a Fiat.
All right, let's like lightning
All right.
around these.
Okay.
Favorite plant species?
Plant speed basil.
Ah.
I don't know.
Favorite place on Earth?
I don't know. It's a toss-up between Paris and London, but I haven't been to either, so that's it. Yeah.
Something you hate.
Did we talk about raspberries?
And again, this is something, not someone.
Oh, some. I said raspberries. Something that I hate. Feedback. I really hate feedback.
Ooh. Real talk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something you love.
No, wait, not feedback. Like the sound, like the looping sound of feedback. Not like constructive criticism. Constructive criticism, I appreciate.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, like the sound of feedback.
Yeah, that is awful.
And probably all EDM music, but that's
You don't like EDM music?
I don't.
Oh, I'm gonna die.
I know.
Oh.
I just, you know what it is? Maybe Ultrafest has me jaded. Like,
Okay.
you know, I don't know.
that?
Ultrafest is an EDM festival that they do here every year to torture
I love
the
EDM
fish.
and I didn't know. I should look into this because I would probably.
No,
love
you
it.
should not look into that.
Why not? Is it bad?
I mean, it's dangerous.
I mean, it's like a giant rave, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never been to one of those.
It's probably not a good thing.
Okay, something you love.
I love to cook. I really like to bake and stuff like that. I don't know. I love to make music. I do love to make music.
You're a songwriter.
I cannot. I've tried to write music.
What are
I
you
just like to
doing?
play music. Are you okay?
I'm good.
You're good.
Where
Okay.
are you going?
He's checking the battery.
No.
Make sure we haven't talked the battery to death.
Oh, I was right. The
Yeah,
brightness
yeah.
levels.
Yeah,
yes, was right.
it's gonna get slowly darker as it often does every day around this time.
I love how the air smells here. It's so fresh and moist.
Yes, I know. My sinuses hate it though.
Really?
Yes, they
You
get
should
all
come to a
stuffy
host.
and
Dry.
yeah.
Dry, and then you'll really realize this is good. All right, what's the last thing we have here? This is the biggest question of your life, okay?
Oh
Wow.
dear.
If you could grow wings or become a mermaid, which would you do and why? I know, this is
I don't
tough,
know. This
man.
is a hard question.
I'm telling you.
I don't know. All my little mermaid dreams are like coming true, and I don't know how to swim, which is a weird thing for living in a
You're a
peninsula.
mermaid. That's
Then I'm
You're
right,
good.
and then I know how to swim.
Yeah.
But then like being able to go wherever I needed to go without having to pay airfare necessarily,
Mhm.
like
I mean, you get
the
tired,
travel
though.
possibilities. I
Yeah.
mean, I would get tired, but
Maybe you have some really cool wings, too.
I don't
That'd be pretty
know.
cool.
I mean, does everybody else have wings, or am I the only freak with
No,
wings?
you're definitely a freak of nature.
Okay. Dang it. Yeah, probably the wings.
Hmm.
I just wear overcoats like John Travolta in that
Absolutely.
movie.
What was that?
Michael or something.
Yeah. that's
Yeah.
right. That's an old
I've
one.
never seen that.
I love movies.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. And what didn't
I think the possum's coming out.
City of Angels? Did they have
Nicolas
wings under their
Cage.
trench coats?
I don't think he
I
did.
don't think
I
so.
don't think he did.
Okay.
Something bit my ankle.
There
All right.
are
It's the
those
possum.
those are the national bird of Florida, the mosquito.
All right.
right.
So, MariVi, tell us a little bit about. So you're obviously a faithful Christian now. Like,
Should we tell the people what she does first? Like, what's her art form? I don't think we told anyone that.
I'm a jack of all trades. I have no art form. I mean, I do, but it's like, I don't know. I have a hard time picking, as you clearly can tell from my movie and television choices.
Well, let's get into what you do professionally as a part of your story. So let's
Okay.
let's go to the beginning here, or not the beginning, but where did you kind of find Jesus in the process of your life?
Okay, so my parents, we're gonna go a little further back and then we'll come back.
Okay.
So my parents got met the Lord during the charismatic renewal back in the 70s and 80s. So I kind of grew up, cradle Catholic, like times a million, because of those also the kind of charismatic movement. So going to church since before I was born. And so I kind of grew up in it. My parents were very involved in evangelism, so I understood what it meant to have a personal relationship with Jesus at an early age.
That's great.
And when I was 6, I kind of made my first little decision, okay, yes, Jesus, I want to make you a part of my life. I come into my heart, the whole spiel.
Mhm.
But it wasn't until I was 13. Actually, I saw Mulan. And I remember coming home thinking what's going on? Why do I feel weird? Lord, I don't know. So I was just growing up, I had kind of I've heard enough talks knowing that when you have this gnawing feeling inside of you and you know that it's not a physical hunger, it's probably a spiritual thing. So I went and I prayed and I opened up my little, my little Bible. It was an NIV. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I like it.
So I just opened my Bible, I just cracked it randomly open, and it landed on Jeremiah chapter 1, where God is calling Jeremiah, and he's like, before I formed you in the womb, I called you, and I called you to be my prophet. And Jeremiah's like, what are you talking about? I'm too young. What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, don't say that. Like, I'm calling you, like, go. So that was kind of like the day that I was like, holy crap, like, I need to, like, make my own decision, not my parents' decision for me. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where my faith journey started.
And what do you think it was about Mulan that, like, struck you that way? I have a feeling I know, but I want to hear you.
I don't know. I think it was probably her desire for, like, to, probably goes back to the same thing that struck me about that song in Beauty and the Beast, like, the wanting adventure, the wanting to matter. And feeling like there was something missing from my life to be able to, like, accomplish whatever mission it was that I had a longing for. I felt like the Lord was like the key to that.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
You were 13?
I was 13. So I just dated myself, but that's okay.
No. That's awesome.
I still have the movie ticket stuff, which is cool.
Really?
Yes, I saved it.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that's when you felt you were 13, when you felt like you needed to make the faith your own.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. What did you encounter in your peers at that age?
So at that time, I was going to a Christian school, and it was like, we had chapel every Wednesday, so, like, they were always having, like, preachers and missionaries coming in to tell us, to walk us through that. So it wasn't like my peer, I didn't really feel like a shift with my peers because we were all supposed to be Christians anyways. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, guys, like, I became a real Christian now. Like, that wasn't really something that we talked about. So I don't know. It was just within my little circle of friends. It was just like, hey, like, I decided to do this. Oh, that's awesome. Like, let's help each other grow.
That's awesome.
So cool. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's so cool, for sure. I'm just, like, lamenting that I just did not have that environment when I was that age. But
yeah, it was definitely a little Christian bubble for sure. So there's the good and the bad in that. I mean, the good is having, like, an early decision for Christ. The bad is, like, reading stuff like I Kissed Dating Goodbye and totally believing it hook, line, and sinker, and, like, all that craziness.
I know that for us as parents, like, those are hard decisions to make. Like, do we want them in the bubble or do we want them on the mission territory?
Right.
That's tough. What do you think in retrospect, like, that having been your experience?
Yeah, I think that it was important to be in the bubble as a child. I think that formed a lot of, like, just things that for me are second nature, like going to read like praying. If there's something happening, like, immediately thinking about prayer.
That's awesome.
But I think as I was in high school, I think high school should have been, like, a more open experience to being, like, exposed to things, as opposed to, like, college being my first real experience, being exposed to stuff. Dig to life and being like, oh wow, I know nothing about the world.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so did you grow up here in South Miami?
I grew up a little bit further south of here,
okay.
but South Florida, yeah.
South Florida, okay. And then you almost, because I saw that you studied at FIU and then at University of Miami.
Started a master's there, yeah. Didn't finish it, but that's another story.
Oh, okay. But I'm just saying, like,
yeah, no,
I
never left home.
South Florida.
I never left home. So
okay. So I've always been curious because I was born here in South Florida, and then my dad wanted to get his PhD at a university in Ohio, so we moved north, which is the only reason I ever met her, which I love.
Sorry.
No. No, I love that. But I've always wondered, like, if we hadn't moved away, would I have encountered the Lord the way that I did, or would I have? Because, like, I look at the culture down here, and it just does not seem conducive to an authentic living out of faith. And I just wonder what your experience of that has been culturally beyond your bubble, and even now as an adult beyond your circle of friends. Like, is it hard in the workplace or in social settings? Like, what is that like for you here in South Florida?
Yeah, it is hard because, like, Miami, like, stereotypically Miami is a party town, and it really is a party town. Like, most people, even if they have, like, a kind of Christian inclination, they're still, like, hitting the bars and the clubs and things like that. And it isn't until people, like, have a real encounter with Jesus and kind of are like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be living this kind of lifestyle, and they like, just the Holy Spirit is the one that convicts them. Because if you try to tell somebody you shouldn't be go out dancing and doing God knows what until dawn, like, they're like, no, I'm fine, I'm living my life, I'm gonna go dancing, I love to dance. I'm like, yeah, you do. So there's definitely pockets. Like, I've met friends that grew up here who are kind of in their own other little, like, Christian or Catholic bubbles, but I don't know, So part of what, like I live in a house, like I have roommates. We're kind of like this little informal community formation house. We're the third women's house, and then there's two men's houses. We're two men's houses, though. They just had to sell that house. But so basically, like the idea is like, how can we create authentic Catholic community, and be able to like foster that in a bigger sense, and actually like figure out a way to try to disciple people into that community, because like, okay, I can meet somebody like at the grocery store and invite them to church or tell them about Jesus, but how can I actually bring them into something where they can actually grow? So I'm sure everybody and their mother, like every community is facing that same thing. So kind of the way we've started, like I haven't started, I just kind of jumped into it, but our kind of like the person that started it at St. Augustine, which is the parish that I've been really involved with the last couple of years, and where we all go to church. But it's been like trying to figure out how to grow that. And the person that started the ministry, Michelle Ducker, she was actually, do you guys know of Sister Bethany Madonna from the Sisters of Life?
No.
So she spoke at Seek a couple years ago and stuff, but Michelle and her were roommates back in college at UCF. And like they started a women's household, and then that kind of grew, and then when she moved down here, she started one, and then it kind of started to grow a little bit. But it's been that like just trying to be close in proximity, and then also do life together. Yeah, that's great. So
you've made a deliberate choice to engulf your existence in like accountability and what's the opposite of fraternity? Because you're girls.
Sorority.
I guess
I feel like people don't use that word that way, but
no, but sisterhood.
Sisterhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in that choice, which is probably not an easy one, and I'm wondering like, even what are kind of the like how does that play out? What are the practices for you in terms of a prayer life as a community, or how does that look? So
something that the other women's houses had always done was like kind of do morning prayer. So liturgy of the hours, morning, like kind of committing to do that, committing to doing like a dinner together. So like everybody has their own lives. Like some of the other girls in the other houses, they're nurses, like medical students. Like they've all got their own lives, but they've just decided like I care enough about, like trying to do this as a single person to try to do this together. So like right now we actually only just started doing morning prayer recently, but for Lent we started doing it, and it's been so great. Just the kind of getting together every morning and starting off our day. And something that I've noticed is like just by like there's a part of morning prayer where you get to share your prayer intentions of like things that you're praying for, and I've realized that by being able to say those out loud, like to each other, like we're more aware of what's going on, like the inner worries, kind of, because you're sharing with God like the things you're worried about. This, Lord, please bless XYZ, and then it kind of just helps you to be more open with each other in that way. That's awesome. So I don't know. That's like something I just started thinking about the other day. I was like, like we're really getting to like know what's going on with each other through like knowing what we're praying for. That's really beautiful. Something I've been thinking a lot about, and we've talked a little bit about this recently, is in our mission as a family, like because I look at a lot of the different missionary practices out there, like the Life Teen Missionaries, or just any of them, St. Paul's Outreach, that they have these practices kind of like what you guys are doing now. And I was just thinking recently, like for us as a family, if we want to be a mission-oriented family, like it'd be really cool to develop routines and disciplines in a similar way that keep us not only as individuals but as a team, as a family, like honed in on what our mission is and honed in on the goal of heaven for ourselves, for each other, but then also for others through our work. And so like working on figuring out what practices make the most sense for us to even engage our children in and develop that sense of mission as a family. So I'm pretty excited for us to continue to develop that too. But yeah, that's awesome that you guys as adults, and you're not even like, I don't think you guys aren't college students now, right? No, we're all working professionals. So working professionals that you've chosen to live that way, which is such a cool thing, because I've heard of missionaries doing it, I've heard of college students doing that, but I don't know that I've encountered working professionals doing that, which is just such a cool thing. And it started, the house started off as college students, because we're really close to University of Miami. So the first house is like just 2 blocks from the university, and it used to be all students, but they've graduated and other people have just come in, and it used to be really focused on the college ministry, the college campus ministry, and then so people would graduate from the college campus ministry and be like, okay, well, where do we go now? And then they just kind of started a young adult group, and we call it YAG because we're really original like that. And it's just, sorry, are you okay? I didn't kill you.
That's an amazing name.
I didn't kill you with my pun.
That's so good.
Anyways, yeah, they call it YAG, and it's like, okay, we're going to YAG. I'm like, it's such a terrible name.
No, actually, full disclosure, you're not the first group I've heard use that name.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for like 8 years, so it's not my fault. But
thank you.
Yeah, we should call it something like Ignite or like, I don't know, Kablam
but
or
literally
something.
everyone is using Ignite, so
okay, so we were slightly more unique.
yes.
I feel like there's so many churches, like the Christian churches that have rebranded. So like the University Baptist Church is now Christ Journey, and like the blah 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 church is now Brave Miami. I'm like, Brave. I'm like, yeah, we should just Kablam. We're the Kablam youth group.
I love it.
And
awesome.
the challenge for us now is like the ones of us who are like hitting the top of that bracket now for young adults. It's like, okay, I don't feel like a young adult anymore. I'm an adult. So how do I transition out of a young adult group? I'm not a youth group kid anymore, but without being like in the 30 to 55 group, which is what they have at the next bracket. It's like, I don't really want to hang with the 55-year-old. So,
well, it's awesome that St. Augustine has got an offering for that, even if it's through just a parishioner that's kind of coordinating it.
Yeah,
that's really unique because a lot of parishes are not. That's a void in a lot of parishes.
Yeah, we used to have a coordinator that handled that, and then they've just transitioned to doing like a council, like a young adult and college ministry council that's just starting now. I hate committees, so thankfully they didn't pick me.
That's awesome.
Your mosquitoes really like me here, by the way.
Do you want me to like light a tea? You want me to get you some bug spray?
No,
I have bug spray. You're good?
Suck it up.
Okay.
All right, offer it up for the souls.
Offering it up.
Okay.
Take my blood, but not too much.
Okay.
So what does it mean? All right, so in your graphic designing talent...
When I love that you called yourself a multimedia
that's
Renaissance
what I was ask.
woman.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. So
woman?
like, I used to call myself a jack of all trades, and my mother really hated it. So like, I don't know. I think somebody called me a Renaissance woman at some point, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. I'll run with that.
That's so cool.
So I don't know. So like, a Renaissance man was like somebody like back in the day that like could do a lot of different things and do them fairly well. So they would like, I don't know, they were like a painter and like a carpenter and like a blacksmith. I don't know. Things.
Okay.
So then things. So kind of as I grew up with my parents doing, you know what, to go back to what you were talking about with like fostering the family and to like doing things, something that I grew up doing was just like joining my parents in their ministry. So they did music ministry, so as a kid I would help them pack up stuff, and I would learn how to coil a cable. I would pick up this, I would put the microphone away, like in a lot of churches, I feel like the music area is very off limits to kids.
It really is.
It wasn't off limits to me because I was a kid of a musician. So I was very comfortable around technology, like tech things, around instruments. So that kind of fed into me getting involved in music ministry, almost an obligation at one point. But it was like, this is what we do as a family. And, to a certain point, that was great. Obviously, like as an adult, you got to branch out and do your own ministry stuff. But that's kind of like where the Renaissance woman thing started, because I learned to play the piano as a kid, but it wasn't like my favorite thing. Yeah. Learned to play the guitar as a kid because my grandfather really wanted me to play the bamba. So
hey, if there's going to be a song.
My grandfather, such a great guy. Anyway, so then I just started picking up the sound tech thing. So that was what I kind of, in high school, that's what I wanted to go study. I didn't get to do that.
That's awesome.
But like I wanted to be an audio engineer, so then that's kind of where that started, and then TV. Then I ended up doing the TV thing for college, and then after that, sorry, mosquito attacked me there. It's going right for the eyeball.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then I just kind of like spiraled out from there into different things, and I picked up Photoshop one day. I took one Photoshop class in college, and then it kind of. So that's where like I kind of do a lot of things. I don't feel like I do any. I feel like there's some things I do really, really well, but I have a hard time like choosing my favorite thing.
That's awesome.
I was just going to ask you, what's your favorite thing?
My favorite thing for a really long time was video editing. I could just sit there and do it all day. Like it's one of those
poetry, but visual.
Yes, like one of those things where you could just sit there in the editing booth and like not even realize you were hungry or thirsty or had to go to the bathroom, and all of a sudden it's like 6:00 at night. What happened to like the world?
That's awesome.
That was
That's a sign. That's a good sign.
It's one of my favorite things.
So because the degree you ended up getting from the University of Miami was interactive storytelling.
I didn't finish the degree, but
I
started it. No, so I did television production and management as my bachelor's, with a certificate in film studies, which is part of why I love film so much. But that's kind of from the previous love of film. So I started doing interactive storytelling. I thought the program was more for designers, but it was really more for developers.
Oh,
so
interesting.
since JavaScript makes me cry,
I
couldn't finish.
Yeah,
I was just like, I love you guys, but
Yeah, that sounds
so
like torture.
a raise. I mean, like, coding is not my.
Yeah, I actually was a computer science major for a while, and I could have done well, but I'm just so bad with like math and some of the
Like
deeper.
Musicians, we count to 4.
Exactly.
You said something
Music
6.
is the thing for someone that can
Yeah.
only count to 4. Yeah.
No. I designed a couple cool things like for my first few classes, but then like when they wanted me to make a website, I was like, I can use Squarespace.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, Squarespace. That sounds great. No, not gonna do coding.
Yeah.
JavaScript, Bootstrap. What is Bootstrap?
Mhm.
Python. That sounds scary. We should not go there.
We shouldn't be messing with Python.
Exactly. No Python. Thank you. I will see you guys later. So,
That's awesome.
so that's how that turned out. But
Very cool.
We've been checking out some of the memes you've created.
Or I don't know if you're creating
haven't created,
them, but
no.
the ones that you share are
Yeah,
so
they're
funny.
Oh, thank you.
hilarious,
Yes.
Like the one I saw today was the
What was that?
Was it the avocado?
no, well, yeah, that was funny too. But actually, I'll just pull it up because this was absolutely worth sharing.
Okay.
It took me a minute to figure it out.
Most of them I don't create. I created one a while back that was when like the whole the last election thing was happening. It was like, so I got a picture of Uncle Sam and I photoshopped a Snickers bar in his hand, and it was like, "You're hungry, America. You eat a Snickers."
There you go.
That was the last one that I made, and
So I loved today.
That's my calendar. That's
Hashtag networking tips from one of my favorite films of all time. Polite greeting, your name, relevant personal link, and then manage expectations. And then it's a quote from The Princess Bride. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Oh, that's my favorite movie. That's my favorite movie.
That's
right
a
there.
great
Yes.
choice.
That's
Great
Yeah,
choice.
I stole that from a meme that I saw. It was I have a little movie quotes calendar every day.
Mm,
That was today's movie quote.
it's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. I totally plan on sharing that myself.
Yeah.
And then, so you also have a blog, and I know you were telling us before we went on the show here that you haven't done stuff on it recently, but that you're thinking about picking it up again. It's becomingmissright.com.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Okay, so the concept behind that was kind of like, I'm single, everybody, no wedding ring.
She is on the market.
And yeah.
Not on the market.
On the
Somewhere in
market.
between.
Like I'm like somewhere like in the back, in the rack, like not the front window, but like the middle section, like the round one. I'm on there. I'm on that rack. I'm sorry. That was ridiculous. Anyways, so kind of the idea was like, so many women are talking about, I've got to find Mr. Right. And this, and then there's so much focus on like making a list. And like, very Pride and Prejudice-y, like, this is what my picture of the perfect man, blah, 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 blah.
Mr. Darcy.
Yes, Mr. Darcy. But, she didn't really like Mr. Darcy when she met him because she didn't know what she was looking for.
Right.
So the concept was like, okay, instead of looking for Mr. Right, why don't I become the Miss Right that my Mr. Right is looking for? Not in the sense that I need to now go like, get a makeover and change my wardrobe and lose 100 pounds and all this stuff, but like become the kind of woman that I want my husband to be, my future husband to be. So like the idea was like it's the journey of like becoming.
That's awesome.
So I started writing it and I realized that I kind of had some more becoming to do before I could write about it. And kind of like some journey, like I needed to kind of grow more before I could keep writing it. So I started writing it last year and then I kind of fell off. And some cool things have been going on that like I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to start writing. Like I think I'm ready to start sharing my journey again.
That's awesome.
That's really great.
I subscribed, so I'm
Excited, yeah. Yeah, I hit a nerve. I did like this little dorky Facebook post a couple months back, and it was something like, because one of my roommates got on Bumble. So she's like, in January, it's like Tinder, but for girls, it's like, so the guy can't talk to you until you talk to him first.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of my roommates got on it, and I was like, okay. So it was like, everybody's on dating websites. So like I subscribed to I did like a 1-month subscription to Catholic Match and Catholic Chemistry and Ave Maria Singles. I was just like, let's just hit all of them in one shot. And like my observation after one whole week on there was like that Catholic online dating was the purgatory of the internet. It was just so terrible. Like, I mean, God bless everybody that's on there. I'm sure that if you are on there, I'm sure you're great and you have a wonderful personality, but you really need to do not take down your bathroom selfie photo, please.
Oh,
Please, for the
no.
love of God. The bathroom selfies in South Florida, it's very common to see a picture of a man holding a large dead fish, sometimes
What?
with blood dripping from it. It's like dead fish. I'm really glad you can hunt and provide for me, hunter, gatherer. Balancing the hunting to my gathering, but it's like,
Oh
yeah, guys, no dead fish, please.
Ew.
I mean, sometimes you see the guys with the rifles and like the rabbit, and it's like, I don't want to see a dead animal.
Oh, that's
So it triggered, it hit a chord, and like I ended up having like 300 comments on my private Facebook post because of the conversations it started. So it was really cool to see how that kind of like people were triggered in a good way
Oh, good.
by it. Yeah, it was a really hilarious conversation.
Sometimes I just wonder, like, do we not know how we look? Sometimes, like I look back at even okay. So let me. I'll be self-deprecating here. I look back at my own childhood photos. I'm like, dude, did you never see a mirror? Like,
you didn't care back then. You were not too impressed.
I
You were
guess.
just being a kid.
I guess.
Like, I was a super dork when I was growing up.
But
and
like,
I wore socks with my sandals and these stupid little pants that were
Yeah,
just
but see,
awful.
that's your parents' fault for letting you out of the house
They
like
didn't
that.
Want me to dress like
I didn't
that.
want to
They
say
were
it.
like,
but-
here's a really cute dress. And I was like, no, I don't want to look like a girl.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I was super like Pocahontas, but minus the crappy dress. I was like, I want to be all sweet and naturey and stuff. And,
I don't know.
it was bad.
But
I
anyways,
mean, I feel like there were like 40-year-old men in holding a fish. So I can't. Or the bathroom, the ubiquitous. I mean, it wouldn't be so bad if it was
flexing
like
their muscles in the mirror
just
kind of
just kind of
bathroom,
like
or-
like with the duck face and the whole like I don't know. I if it's a really beautiful bathroom, like if you're in the Waldorf Astoria and you want to do a selfie there, go for it. That's great. The lighting is great. Taco Bell, not so much.
Mhm.
There was a guy who legitimately looked like a Taco Bell bathroom. It was just terrible.
We were at the beach a couple of days ago, which, by the way, we got terribly burnt at, and
Yes.
it just the feeling of this very light and thin shirt on me is excruciating pain.
Mine's
but
already better.
yeah,
Pansy.
well, I don't handle pain well. I'll admit it, unless it's like really bad, and then I handle it like a champion. I don't know what the deal is with that. Anyways, so we're at the beach, and we were there for like 4 hours. There was this
awesome.
lady, and I actually forgot to mention this to you. There was this lady sitting behind us, like directly behind our family, who almost the entire 4 hours we were there was taking selfies.
Really?
Like, I'm not kidding. She was laying on her beach chair thing, and the entire time was like duck facing and like holding it in different positions. It was insane, and I'm just like, dude, what is happening to our society?
I don't know.
Where you spend 4 hours at the beach taking duck face selfies?
Somebody should teach
I
you
don't
how
know.
to
It's a
build
sign.
selfies.
Maybe Thanos needs to take us all.
Screw 50%. The whole thing. Oh my gosh.
Awesome. That is hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. Same thing happened. I actually went to the beach yesterday. I never go. Like I live here, and I never ever like I hadn't been to like the beach in my like South Beach in like I don't know 8 years. It's been a really long time.
Wow.
But one of my friends is moving to South Carolina, and he wanted to do like a big beach, whatever, go away. So I'm like, I'm at the beach. Okay, I'm there. Like I dipped my toes in the water just to make sure. Like I'm like, okay, I can't go all the way to the beach and not dip my toes.
Yeah.
So I did, but there was a woman behind us. I mean, there was a woman behind us topless sunbathing, and then there was a woman on that side.
Is that allowed?
It's
It's
South
not
Beach.
allowed, but it's South Beach, so they do it anyways. Yeah.
I'm
Anyways,
such a Puritan.
there's I mean, okay, there's this thing about like I don't know. I've never been to. There's like actually a nudist beach like further north of there, but like and some guy on one of the dating apps, the guy invites me to go to Oliver Beach, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, so I Google it. I'm like, what beach is this? And I read it, and I read what it is, and I'm like, no thanks, guy.
Oh
Go,
my
you know,
gosh.
you go ahead
Oh
and
my
find somebody who
goodness.
would actually want to go there with you. But yeah,
Wow.
the problem is the people who go there are not the people who have the bodies to go there.
Oh,
That's
dear.
I feel like the biggest problem. But I don't know. Anyways,
So when I lived,
I feel like we
in-
just went down a rabbit
should
hole.
definitely-
Hey, this is real talk. This is Miami. so
So-
I lived in Miami for a short time after high school, and I was spending some time with a relative of mine in South Beach in like downtown Miami Beach area, and there, you know that like everyone says here that like when you're really wealthy, you don't show it. Like the wealthiest people on Miami Beach like are walking
They
around.
dress like bums.
They dress like bums. Okay.
Really?
So I saw this guy that has to be the wealthiest man in South Florida. So it's this old guy, like a very scrawny Santa Claus, really short and scrawny with a huge white beard. That's why I said the Santa Claus part. and he just is like walking by, like, you know, walking on sunshine kind of thing, downtown on the sidewalk, completely naked, sans a silk, completely translucent silk, like,
that's disgusting.
thing over his waist that isn't, even though it's translucent and silk, is not even covering his male organs. And I'm just like, this guy has got some money.
No, oh my gosh. Yeah, the problem with being a graphic designer is that, like, mental picture brain. And I can I'm just, I used to tell this to my coworkers because they would say, like, terrible things. And I'd be like, guys, graphic designer, graphic, I'm seeing this, stop talking. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, definitely you'll see people. I feel like the more, like, the higher economic level the church, the more you see, like, Bermuda shorts and boat shoes in church versus, like, the poorer churches, you see people dressed to the nines going to church.
That is so accurate.
Yeah.
That is so accurate. Like, even a small difference, like, between Hialeah and Pembroke Pines. I go to church with my grandparents in Hialeah, and everyone is, like, really done up. And actually, my grandmother super judged me for wearing shorts to mass the other day.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And they were nice shorts. They weren't gym shorts. I was wearing nice shorts and a nice button-down shirt.
Oh, crap.
And I'm in South Florida. I never come to South. Of course I'm going to wear shorts.
Did she say something to
Oh
you?
yeah, she super judged me.
Did she say something about I was wearing shorts? Oh god.
Yeah, but you're a girl. Girls have different standards. Like, girls can wear flip-flops at the office as long as it, like, looks nice with their outfit, but, like, a guy can't wear flip-flops to the office.
Well, yeah, they're not dressing flip-flops.
Anyways, so then we went
Yeah.
to mass with my dad at Pembroke Pines, and it was like
And everybody was wearing shorts and boat
Yeah, it was a
Bermuda
totally different
Bermuda
thing.
shorts and boat shoes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, back to spiritual things.
Yeah, we'll stop judging Miami people. I don't know. There's a lot of craziness here. So where are you? So you're from Miami. So I'm gonna make a general assumption you're Cuban.
I am.
You are, okay.
And you?
I am Puerto Rican.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Awesome.
People think I'm Cuban, but I'm not. So
I didn't assume anything. I know better.
yeah, very good.
Yeah, where I live in Ohio, growing up there, I'd tell someone I was Cuban, and they'd tell me, "Well, you don't look Mexican," and I'd say, "Well, that's because I just said I'm Cuban," and they'd say, "Yeah, but you don't look Mexican." It's an incredible.
And then you pull out, you know, like a globe, the globe you have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
You like spin it around
Right.
and show them where, you know. Yeah.
So I knew better than to assume anything
That was
about
was
your.
lovely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where are you from? Are you from Ohio?
Whitey.
You're Ohio from. Okay.
Ohio girl.
Daughter of the American Revolution or something cool like that?
No,
No.
I wish.
Oh.
I don't know what my ancestry is. I did do the ancestry DNA. I'm Scottish, French, and English. A little bit of Irish.
Very nice. Top of the morning to you.
Aye.
That was the least Irish top of the morning to you.
I know. I didn't even know what I said. I was like, I just started talking and I'm like, that's not even. Wait.
Can you do a better one?
Top of the
Top
morning.
of the morning to you.
Oh,
Top
wow.
of the
Yeah, you
morning.
know.
Top of the morning.
It's
Okay.
in your blood.
I have to think about Mrs.
I can't.
Patmore, and then I can kind of start talking to her.
Okay.
Like, there you go.
What show is that from?
Oh wait, Mrs. Patmore wasn't actually Mrs.
Was
Mrs.
that,
That's
Downton
Downton Abbey, but
Abbey?
Mrs. Hughes,
Oh,
Mrs. Hughes,
Love
yes.
that show.
So we should
Yeah.
just do the rest of the show in like a British accent, shall we?
Oh,
Let's
but
do
that
it.
was a really particular British accent.
That was.
That
I don't know
like
what I was doing. I don't know. I can like say like, okay, so this is Pints with Aquinas with Matt Fraud.
That's
Matt
Australian.
Fraud. I can kind of.
Australian
Yeah.
confuses me.
I know.
Australian trips me up super bad.
I feel like every Australian I've heard sounds completely different
Peanut
from each
butter.
other.
Peanut
butter. I have to have. Oh, I can't do it. Nope. I can't do Australian. I always just
So
gravitate
you have to
towards
start to the
Scottish.
G'day and then you got to like, and then
Yeah,
Vegemite,
let that flow into everything
Vegemite,
else.
and then
Trying to
like
get myself an alligator.
Nope.
No,
Alligator,
That's not
no.
it either.
No.
I can't do it.
no. One time I actually got to go to the first Hillsong conference here. It was in Orlando, and they kept on going Orlando. We're here in Orlando.
That's really good.
Thank you. I love accents.
Oh my gosh.
I can't do a Spanish accent though. Like I think growing up here, I was trying to have like good general American English.
Yeah.
So I probably have a Miami accent. You guys can write me and tell me how terrible it is. But it's like trying not to
I actually
sound.
don't hear a Miami
I hear
accent.
Oh my
tiny little
gosh!
one.
It's
You didn't
with
know
certain
your mom
words.
had
Like
an
if I say
accent.
Miami, like Miami sounds like a Miami accent.
It
but-
does. It
Yeah.
does.
Because that's the way the Miamians say Miami. But yeah.
Anytime I spend time with my cousins down here, I almost instantly adopt one for like a good month. And,
Yes, just you gotta
You
super,
get on the phone
super.
with them and you're like, hey bro, what's up, man? You're like,
Dude, it was like a mission to go like to the Serranos to get like the lechon. Oh my gosh! Have you guys gotten Cuban coffee? Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, well, my
croquetas
abuela makes it, yeah.
Yes, though that's like you can't buy that Cuban coffee
Although
anywhere.
now that I'm on the keto diet, my Cuban cuisine
Yeah.
is very limited.
it's
Yes.
very sad, but
Yeah,
I'll eat
I'm
it all
pretty much
for
down
you.
to picadillo without arroz, and
Oh, can you do beans?
no.
Oh no.
his abuelita's dying.
Yeah.
She thinks you're too skinny. Está muy flaco.
Yeah. She's yelling at me like, "Oye, you're gonna disappear soon."
That is every Hispanic grandmother for sure.
It's so cute. She's wonderful though.
Yeah. Little does she know that, like, according to the doctor's scale thing, like, I'm way heavier than I should be. So. But I'm working on it. I've lost 30 pounds.
That's awesome.
On this keto diet. Yeah. I'm a firm advocate now. Anyways, on to spiritual things. So what?
You're like, okay, so like Paul in Galatians, if you ever read it, he talks about, there's like a verse where he says that we started in the spirit and we ended in the flesh. I feel like that's us every time.
It's like in and out.
Okay, so we're coming back. We left the croquetas. Where are we coming back to?
The Miami sandwich. Where did we leave off? Okay, so we were talking about your
becoming Miss Right.
Becoming Miss Right.
Multimedia. I think we've covered it.
So, what would you say, like, as a creator, creative, as an artist, like, how do you see your faith kind of pouring into that? Because I know that you do a lot of work in, like, the secular world, but, like, how would you say, and maybe there are specific projects that you could point to that you've been a part of or things that you want to do in the future, like, how would you say your faith kind of flows into yourself as an artist specifically?
So I definitely think that, like, the Lord is the source of the creativity. Like, I guess definitely thinking about it in that way. I've kind of struggled for the last few years, kind of with ministry being such a big part of what I do as a person. And definitely because growing up in it, it's like I've been doing church ministry stuff since I was like 11 because I started as a girl altar server. I'm sorry, people that are traditional, and you're going to be mad about that. I thought it was really cool. I was excited. At one point, I grew taller than the priest so that I would like go down one step and like have to hold the book really low. And it was just really funny. He was this little tiny Colombian priest.
Oh my God.
He always talked about incertidumbre, which is like the uncertainty of life and stuff. I don't know. I remember that. It was incertidumbre. It was that was his favorite word. But yeah, so growing up doing that stuff, and then like kind of doing, it was like the music stuff I've never done professionally. So it's like I didn't study it. I kind of feel like I got a secondhand music degree from my cousins who actually studied music, and used to like use me to like study their homework, like do their college homework. They'd be like testing me and like teaching me stuff. So like the music part has always been very much about the faith, and then kind of like the production and the graphic design has always been more career focused. But getting to be part of the group Catholic Creatives has kind of helped to marry the two a little bit, and kind of be able to bring some of my other work, like my profession, like the professional work, into more of a ministry context. So getting to collaborate with a couple of projects. I got to PA for Corey Hyman one time when he was doing some stuff down here. So that was exciting to get to do like some of the TV skill stuff for something like church related.
That's awesome.
In that sense. And like on and off, like people, like I've talked to friends about starting like podcasts and YouTube video channels and things like that, but none of that has ever really fleshed out, as far as taking that like career ministry stuff. So getting to be a part of Catholic Creatives has been that door. And getting involved with the 8 Beats project, I got to help out.
You were doing with the marketing.
Yeah, I was on the national marketing team, and I ran the crowdfunding campaign. Now what that means is that I was the one actually like going on the website and like filling things out and making sure that part was running on the technical side. It didn't mean that I was the one that raised the money. Like right. Everybody raised the money for that, and it was really cool to get to learn the back end of that whole structure.
And that's coming out now in the spring of 2019.
It's supposed to be coming 2000. So it was supposed to come out last year, but because the funding that came in was like the seed money to get the movie started, but they haven't. Are you okay?
Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Not the possum.
Literal squirrel.
Making sure it's not the possum.
So now there's a few films that are like still finishing up production. So I think they're looking at towards the end of this year. So everybody that didn't get your if you supported the film and haven't seen the film yet, join the rest of us. We screened a couple of the ones.
It's coming.
It is coming, and it's awesome. Yeah, no, there's a film. I got to see a little piece of one of the films yesterday, and I was really excited.
Yeah. Cool. And so maybe explain the kind of like these are vignettes.
So these are it's an anthology, an 8-part anthology based on the Beatitudes. Yeah. So each film is based on the story, like the concept of like blessed are the meek, blessed are the merciful, blessed are those who mourn. So each one is kind of, that's the essence of where the story came from. But I would say for not for every film is it immediately obvious that this is what it's about. So the concept is for them to kind of be a conversation piece, to be able to open the door to talk to people, kind of like a pre-evangelistic tool almost, but not something that is like, has Jesus stamped all over it, because there's so many people that are so immediately like revulsed by that. And I mean, that's the reality of the world that we live in. So it's like, how can you start that conversation to like start tilling that ground to like plant a seed?
That's awesome.
So that's kind of the concept of the stories in the films, and they're kind of more on the PG-13 side of things, because we want to make them real story, real life. Yeah, real stories.
That's awesome. And I love that that's kind of the angle on it, as far as like not just like spoon feeding you what the message is, because I think that too often when it comes to Christian art, especially when it comes to filmic art, like or cinematic art, like that we make it too easy. And I think what we do is we deprive the glory of God of its like mystery and the beauty of the journey of like uncovering the mystery of God. And when we make it so easy, like we also like cheapen and diminish the value of the message. And I love that approach was taken.
Yeah, there's I had a really great conversation with a musician called Mike Mangione. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I know him.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So I know him as well.
We know him, sorry.
So I had a really good conversation. We were doing this little interview with him for, I forgot what it was we were doing. And he was talking about how like there's about his music, and how his music isn't overtly Christian, but it definitely you feel the presence of the Lord in the music and the stories that he's telling through his songs. And he was talking about how like there's this space between the canvas, like on the wall, and the person viewing it, and you need to leave that space for people to make their journey to understand the art in front of them. And I feel like Christian film, like the stereotypical Christian film that we all hate to love, love to hate, it wants to tell you how to get there. It wants to tell you like, this is what this means, and like you're looking at the Picasso, and the eye is over here and the ear is over there, and like you take this piece and that piece and you put them together, and it's like, okay, like the person will figure it out, but you just need to let them, let the Holy Spirit do his job and help them get there.
That's awesome.
So
I'll put a link to that video, because it's on your YouTube channel. I saw that. I'll put a link to that video in the show notes for today's episode.
Cool.
And so what would you say on the note of some of this stuff, like what is your biggest pet peeve when it comes to Christian art?
I mean, bad lighting.
Yes.
Bad production value.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's so much to be said for production value. Like, why can't you make it, or like, I don't know, bad acting.
Yes.
Like bad acting, bad quality work. Like, I don't know. Okay, so I saw Unplanned, and I thought it was great.
We haven't seen it yet.
Okay, you haven't seen it yet. Okay, so I thought it did a great job of what it was trying to do, but I thought there was a lot of voiceover, like critically. Okay, so like looking at it from a storyteller's perspective.
And you don't mean ADR, you mean like
no, like there was actual
narration.
No, the ADR actually, like whatever ADR they did probably was fine. It didn't feel like forced. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched a Hallmark movie and they're like standing outside in a snowstorm and their tone of voice is just completely wrong for how they should be talking, because they're both in the studio doing ADR over the outside.
That kind of reminds me of like when Jesus is sleeping on the boat, and it's the story of like this terrible storm and their lives are at stake, and the disciples are just like casually like, Lord, like, why won't you wake up? And I just think like they're probably screaming and hollering their heads off just to hear each other, and they're terrified about the storm. But when you read the story, they're all like pretty mellow. Yeah. Like, hey, we might die right now. Like,
yeah, because they're in the ADR studio. Like, they're in the studio recording it after the fact, and they're not getting directed. And they're not getting directed well, because that is the director's fault. So I feel like there's a lot of times where we say, oh, that person's such a bad actor, but it's actually they have a bad director.
That's true.
I don't know.
I think a terrible example of that is the movie Samson.
Samson, I don't know.
Not of the ADR thing, but of what you were talking about with the poor direction and production value. Like, I remember seeing the trailer, and I showed it to you, and you felt the same way. Seeing the trailer for this Samson movie, and it's like, whoa, like this is going to be a cool like Hollywood depiction of the Samson story. And the actors looked legit. Like, it looked like it was going to be really good.
Was it the best part? Was like the best pieces of the whole thing? It was in the trailer?
Well, I would say beyond that, like, you really don't get this the awareness that it's low budget.
Okay.
From the trailer, explicitly. You start watching it, the first 10 seconds are painful. Like, it is one of the worst first 10 seconds of a low-budget Christian movie I've ever seen.
Really? Have you seen the David and Goliath one that they recently did? Because I went to the movies to see that I took it with my mom, because my mom wanted to watch it. And you could hear the microphones distorting. distorting. You
You're
could
kidding.
hear like Goliath's whatever was microphone was distorting, and I'm like, Mom, I can't, Mom. I know it's a Christian movie. They have our money. Can we go watch something else? We snuck in to watch. I think it was Home.
Nice.
We like left the theater. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah.
And I've been really I don't know. I've decided like I used to always go watch the Christian movies to support them because it's like, okay, that's the right thing to do.
Right.
Now I'm like, okay, like
I think they bank on that.
Yeah, they bank on.
They bank on Catholic guilt. Of course they do.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah. Everybody does.
So I don't know. So like I saw Unplanned because I heard there were good reviews, but there were some things about it. There was some acting direction, and I call it on the director because I think that actors follow what the directors do. So you're gonna see. I mean, it's a good film. I think it tells the story well. I think there's some choices that I would have done differently to maybe make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
but
and
production value
if you're a good
wise,
director, you can get the performance you need even out of a bad actor. Like you can get something usable out of a bad actor if you're a good director.
Every time
yeah. I don't know. I mean, I directed a film in college once, and it'll never see the light of day. So I was the director and the producer. It had terrible lighting.
And we're gonna put a link to that video in the show notes.
It does not on the internet, guys. It's on a mini DV tape in my bedroom at my parents' house. So
that is amazing. Yeah.
One day.
One day. Oh my gosh,
That's
it was
awesome.
terrible.
Well, MariVi, is there anything else you want to share? Anything you want to point people to?
I mean, definitely if you're a creative out there and you want to look up Catholic creatives, I think they're doing a lot of awesome work. They're really trying to foster that community, and like I wouldn't have gotten to know you guys if it wasn't for Catholic creatives. There's
true.
so many cool projects. I got to help work with them at the summit, which was awesome. So that was exciting. Getting to meet people like when I got to meet Fabiola Garza, who's she's a Disney character. She's a Disney artist for the Imagineering group. So she does whenever you see a Disney princess on a purse, she's one of those artists that draws.
Wow.
She does the merchandising for them. Cool. So getting to meet her in person, and she's like, "You're not this big." I'm like, "I know." You're a real person. I'm like, that was my thing. Was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm meeting the people from the internet."
That's so cool.
So I don't know, just getting to know we're getting to work with community and connecting with that. And I don't know, I was sharing a little bit before we started recording that the biggest thing I've been learning this year is kind of separating that ministry from my relationship with God, because a lot of times oh, well, who am I? Well, I'm a music minister, and I'm a this, that, and the other. I lead the young adult group. I do this, I do that. I'm in Catholic Creatives. My identity as a Christian becomes what I do. And I was sharing with you guys before, I did the altar serving when I was 11. I started doing that. When I was 15, I joined my parents' the music ministry at my church, and my parents' church now because I don't go there anymore. But and then I did that for a really long time, and that was what I did. And there were times when I really hated what I was doing, and I didn't want to do it anymore. But I felt the obligation to do it for whatever reasons. And then the Lord just kind of started working on me in different ways and putting people in my life to give me good direction. And then I left that music ministry, and leaving that was really hard because I didn't realize it at the time, but my identity and who I was as a Christian was very wrapped up in how I served the Lord.
Wow.
I think that's huge. I mean, I remember all the times I've worked at churches, it's so easy for that to accidentally happen. Especially in my role as a music director, because from a liturgical standpoint, there are so many practical nuances you have to stay on top of, and it's so easy to get caught up in all of that and forget that you're also supposed to have a prayer life that is completely removed from that. You need to begin your day with the Lord. You need to walk through your day with the Lord, and the distraction of all the things you're doing for Him cannot become what is your relationship.
Is you okay?
Yeah, that's not the possum.
No possum. I actually really want to see this possum. I think
you might have to stay till midnight and watch him go crawl across the power line.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It was horrifying, actually.
They're big though.
It was this big.
How can it do that?
Okay, I think we're deviating.
That's okay.
We're possum trailing again.
Yep. But that's such a powerful and important thing for everyone to remember. Even if you're even if you're in a secular work environment, but you're heavily active in volunteerism at your parish or whatever, your volunteer work even cannot become accidentally
your relationship with God.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to flow out of your relationship with God. So I think, to me, that is the biggest takeaway of this conversation. I love that.
And I actually recently went to a Latin mass, and I'd never been. I have there's like a little group of tradies, as they call them, like traditional mass people, and like they're always like trying to invite people into it. And I've always, because I went to like a fundamental Baptist Christian school, so they were like long skirts, very legalistic. So like I met a few Latin mass people, and I found them to be very, the people that I met, I found to be very strict and rigid in their thinking, and I was like, run away. Like, I'm like, Holy Spirit, like free, like be relaxed. I can wear pants, and it was like, I kind of was immediately like ran away from that. But like getting to know people and just getting to see their love for just seeing the liturgy like that. Made me kind of be more open to going to one. So a couple of weeks ago, I went to one for the first time, and I was so stressed out about like not knowing what am I going to sing? Like, I don't even know the songs. Where's like, do I have to find a missal? Like, what am I doing? Do I need to wear a veil or no veil, pants, skirt? I was so into like what I was going to do when I got there. And like right as I walked in, I was like, okay, MariVi, just embrace the mystery.
Ooh.
Embrace the mystery was like,
oh snap.
Oh snap. And one of my friends told me that the other day, like one of my roommates had told me that like before about something else. We were talking about something else, and she's like, and just embrace the mystery. So as I'm walking in, I'm like, just embrace the mystery.
Dude, that's awesome.
And for us Catholics, like mystery isn't like, okay, the thing I need to go figure out and like solve. It's not the crime mystery novel that I got to figure out who done it. Mystery is like, okay, this thing that's so big that like my human brain, like Chris Rice, I don't know if you know the artist, he has this song that's the lyric that says 3.5 pounds of brain trying to figure out what this is all about.
Wow.
And it's like, how is my 3.5 pounds of brain going to figure out this God-sized mystery? Wow. So it's awesome. Like that's like what we mean when Catholics say like, this is a mystery, it's like because we can't figure this out this side of heaven. Yeah. So then I was like walking into the church, and I'm like, okay, just embrace the mystery. Like, you're not going to figure this out. So I walk in. As I walk in, the lady hands off the last little missal that has the translations of everything that we're going to. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, Lord. So like I go, I sit down. I'm like, okay. It's only like 3 women wearing veils. I'm okay. And then like I sit down, and I'm like just listening. And listening, because it's not this participatory back and forth that we have, and then like Novus Ordo, whatever it's called. And I like start feeling weird and uncomfortable, and I'm like, Lord, I don't like this. I want to sing a thing. Like, can't I just like? And the only thing that was said in English was like the homily, really, and everything else was just like, and also with you and Amen in Latin. And I'm like, okay, sorry, another mosquito going to the eye. And at the end of it, I was just like trying to reflect on it, and like I felt like the Lord, like kind of like towards the consecration, and then the priest doesn't say the consecration words out loud; he says them quietly. And I was just thinking, like, for all the years that I've been in music ministry, and felt like I am a participant in like, I'm like, like the priest's like stage manager. I'm like the stage manager, making sure that the sound is fine and the volumes are this and that and the other. Like what I felt like the Lord was telling me in that moment was like, nothing that you can do can add to what's happening here. Like, wow. I don't need you. And I was like, okay, Lord, maybe I've been a bit prideful. And it was just like, I don't need you in a good way. Like, like I can do this all by myself without having like all the bells and whistles of like people doing things. And it was just like really, I don't know, it was very impactful for me.
That's awesome. How do you feel about that? Like, as someone that is coming, like, that has entered the church as, a non-Catholic, where I feel like there might be a very different paradigm.
There is.
Yeah. What is your reaction to that?
I'm torn between that constantly. I think God is working in my heart, trying to fix a lot of things, because I desire, like, I'm a very emotional being, and a lot of my relationship with God growing up was feeling Him in song and in the awesome sermons and stuff that moved my heart, because that's just my love language. And I've written about this in our blog thing, that it might be my love language, but God's love language in the Mass is very simple. It's like He just has this recipe for, it's very straightforward, doesn't have to have music and all this stuff, but we make it that way. So, I don't know, like, I struggle, because I really love big drums.
Yes. Well, and the mass that I've been gravitating towards a lot lately is actually one that's happening at St. Thomas the Apostle, which is on the other direction over here, and they have a praise and worship band that does the mass, and they do it well. It's not just like a kid with an electric guitar like wailing or something. It's well done. Like they know their stuff. So I love that, but then I'm also like starting to like get dipping my toes over here.
Yeah.
And
then there's the issue of like, well, what if I don't like the songs they do? Because we went to a contemporary mass this week, and it was like they had a full band, and people were standing raising their hands, and I'm like, dude, I would never raise my hands to this song. It doesn't move my spirit, but obviously it did for these people. So it's very, each person has their own taste, but how does that dictate what the mass should be?
Like it should, the mass is the mass.
It is, right.
It is, and as being like a technical person, like always noticing like if a singer's voice, I want to go walk over to the mixer really quietly and like EQ their voice because it's like either too bright or it's too flat. Like there's too many mids and they're mumbling and I'm like, I want to just go fix that real quick. And it's like, how do I turn that off and just focus?
I have a really hard time with that exact same thing.
Oh my gosh, funny story. Yeah. The first mass that I went to after leaving the music ministry, where I was. Like having been in charge, I was in charge of the sound system. Like I was the person that took care of a lot of that stuff for the Spanish masses that I took care of. The first mass that I go to, I just pick a random mass, no music on Sunday. I just thought that was so funny. I was like, Lord, you are hilarious. Like no, and that's exactly what I needed because I was like, I just want to focus on like the word. I want to focus on the readings. I want to focus on the homily. Like I don't want to be thinking about the music. And Lord's like, no music. So that's been a journey. That's been a journey, like learning not to like be judging the choices of other people all the time.
Yeah.
But that's something that I just have to like. I don't know. You live with it. It's like a limp or something.
Yeah. Oh man, to be judgmental. Like I feel like it's a thorn in my side,
And mine.
I don't know if there's anyone that really, like even if someone says they're not judgmental, like I don't know that anyone's really not judgmental.
I mean, especially as artists, it's really hard not to because, like, you're very you're keenly aware of the choices. It's like a chef going to another restaurant and tasting, like, a spice and thinking, okay, well, I would have seasoned this differently. Like, there's, it's what you're, like, it's what you're making. It's the language you speak, It's like, so how can I not be, like, if the music minister at maybe the parish that I'm currently attending over that way, like really likes to speed through, open the eyes of my heart and play it at 1.5 times the correct way that they should be playing it. And it makes me kind of twitchy and cringy. And I'm like, okay, you know what, Lord, I'm not here for the music. I'm here for you. Yep. So that's, I don't know, that's the journey that I'm on right now. And kind of like I am not doing anything specifically ministry right now, but like I'm getting to do fun little things. Like the Lord's like letting me get to still like exercise my gifts, but He's teaching me more about me and like how like our relationship is like the thing I got to focus on. So
and would that we would all have that perspective that God, the Lord, is always working on us. That we have never,
doesn't stop.
We don't arrive.
Not till we're dead.
Not till we're dead.
And maybe not even then.
And that, well, right. Yeah. But that's a whole other ball of wax.
That's a whole nother, that's another show.
Yeah.
As my favorite cooking show guy used to always be like, that's another show.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, MariVi, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your life and your love of the Lord, yourself with us in this time.
Oh, thank you guys. This has been awesome. Thank you for coming to my backyard.
Amen.
And for getting eaten by the mosquitoes.
We survived the possum and the mosquitoes.
I'm going to go find him now.
This show is brought to you by our patron community. You can check out our patron community at nickandalina.com/patron, and you can join for as little as a cup of coffee per week.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, per month.
Well, it's a monthly thing, but it works out to be, about a cup of coffee.
Well,
anyways.
If you go to the coffee shop down the road.
Well, the coffee shop down the road, that was a different thing.
That was a fancy one.
That was a fancy one, yeah.
Very.
Did you have a $7 cup of coffee?
Yep. Basically, yeah.
$15 bill.
Yeah,
Pretty awesome.
for 2 cups of coffee. Anyways, God bless you guys. We hope you have a blessed week and whatever amount of time between now and our next episode.
We have more creatives coming up. Very excited about.
Yes, so this is a series.
Yeah, this is an awesome series we're really excited about.
Yeah. Also, we love you. That's it.
Take care.
Bye.